There is a city in Italy that, just by hearing its name, we're instantly transported into a world of art. A city that today is quite a challenge for us to present to you and to live up to. Travel companions, shall we take a walk together through its streets? Welcome to Florence. Florence is an open-air museum where every corner takes us to another era. From Brunelleschi's impressive dome to the majestic Ponte Vecchio, walking through its streets is like traveling back in time. Art, history, and Tuscan charm come together in a destination that captivates you at first sight. Florence is the capital of the Tuscany region in central Italy. This land of rolling landscapes, endless vineyards, and medieval villages is the birthplace of the Renaissance, and Florence is its greatest example. Soon we'll have a road trip through Tuscany, but today we'll dive into a 3-day itinerary dedicated entirely to the city, without taking any trips outside. Here we'll share the itinerary, tips, prices, and a map to download. At the end of the video, we'll give options for those who have a few more days. Day 1 in Florence. We arrived in the city in the morning, looked for our accommodation and the parking that the host had already sent us to, so we could start enjoying the city. And with the excitement of wanting to see everything, we headed out to the street, and our first destination was the Ponte Vecchio, about 500 meters from our accommodation. The walk along the banks of the Arno already made us feel immersed in that museum that is Florence. On the way, we saw the Museo Galileo. Even though we didn't go in, the same thing will happen to us here as we said in Rome. There is so much in every corner that we will do some things, and for others, we'll just mention them as references. If you like science, you might be interested in visiting this place. Here you can see everything from Galileo's original telescopes to inventions that change the way we understand the world. The entrance fee is €13. We also left, but just for today, the Uffizi gallery aside, because we would come another day. Today, the fabulous Ponte Vecchio was already calling us. The Ponte Vecchio is not just a bridge, it's a piece of history suspended over the Arno River. Built in the 14th century to replace an earlier structure destroyed by a flood, it has witnessed centuries of trade and tradition. In its early days, butchers and tanners occupied its stalls, but the Medici, in their desire to beautify Florence, there are several versions, either due to smells or safety reasons. They replaced them with jewelers, giving it that golden shine that still characterizes it today. Crossing this bridge, with all these shops on top, these jewelry stores, has a very special charm, and it's a very unique bridge. It was the only bridge that survived World War II in the city. As we were saying, walking across it is like traveling through centuries of history in just a few meters, feeling the weight of the past in every cobblestone. And if you wait until sunset, you'll see how the light transforms it into a golden postcard, as if it still held part of the Medici's treasure. You'll surely come back to this bridge several times. It's magnetic, but now let's continue our tour. Now, our steps take us to Piazza della Signoria, just 200 meters away. Piazza della Signoria is the political and cultural heart of Florence, a monumental square surrounded by history and art. Since the Middle Ages, it has been the center of power, dominated by the imposing Palazzo Vecchio, the seat of the Florentine government. Here, revolts, executions, and celebrations have taken place over the centuries. In addition to its historical importance, the square is an open-air museum with iconic sculptures such as a replica of Michelangelo's David, the Fountain of Neptune, and the Loggia dei Lanzi, which houses impressive works. It's a vibrant place where the past and present of Florence meet in every corner. We wouldn't visit the Palazzo Vecchio today, but we would come back another day to go inside and explore this wonderful palace. The Loggia dei Lanzi is an elegant gallery of open arches, located, as we mentioned, in this square and next to the Palazzo Vecchio. Built in the 14th century, it originally served as a space for public ceremonies and meetings of the Republic of Florence. Today, it is a true open-air museum, famous for housing impressive Renaissance and Baroque sculptures. Among them, the most notable are the Rape of the Sabine Women and Hercules, and the Centaur Nessus by Giambologna, as well as the dramatic Perseus with a head of Medusa by Benvenuto Cellini. It is one of the most fascinating corners of Florence, where art and history come together right on the street. We just mentioned the replica of Michelangelo's David. How about going to see the original? We're heading to the Galleria dell'Accademia to look for it, another 850 meters. But since you can't take a single step without running into something, we marveled during this walk, finding the Duomo, its campanile, and the baptistery. Seeing it leaves you speechless. We would leave the visit to the Duomo, the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, for early tomorrow, because it's best to go early to avoid the crowds, since we were going to climb up to its dome. Today would be the day to continue immersing ourselves in the art of Florence, and the Accademia Gallery was the starting point. We chose to tour this gallery with a guide so we wouldn't miss any details of Michelangelo's David, which is displayed in this museum. We did this visit through, and thanks to Civitatis, like so many others we do on all our trips, and that you are already used to seeing. The entrance was very quick, since we were accompanied by the guide and got in without any delays. We don't do guided tours for every museum or gallery, but for some specific ones, we feel it's necessary because of the information the guide provides, and in this case, we felt that way. The gallery's origins go back to 1784, when the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Pietro Leopoldo, reorganized the Academy of Fine Arts of Design, which was founded in 1563 by Cosimo Finer de' Medici, turning it into the modern Academy of Fine Arts. The museum also houses other works by Michelangelo, as well as various pieces by other Florentine artists from the 14th to the 16th centuries. For music lovers, there's also a collection of instruments, including a Stradivarius. Civitatis offers guided tours and excursions around the world, most of them with free cancellation in case your plans change. When I'm putting together an itinerary, I quickly book the tours, since I know I can change them later if something comes up or I change my mind. We walk, we listen to the guide, we see many works of art, but there it is, waiting for us. We want to see it, David. Michelangelo's David is one of the most iconic sculptures of the Renaissance. Carved in marble between 1501 and 1504, it depicts the biblical hero David before facing Goliath. With a height of over 5 meters, it stands out for its detailed anatomical study, its expression of concentration, and the perfection of its proportions. It was originally intended for the Cathedral of Florence, but its artistic impact led to it being placed in the Piazza della Signoria. In 1873, it was moved to the Galleria dell'Accademia, where today it is the main attraction of the museum. There is now a replica in the Piazza della Signoria, which we just saw. You can book this guided tour through Civitatis. You also have the convenience of an app, where you can keep all your upcoming activities saved, as well as book more tours, excursions, or free tours. For each activity, you have reviews and ratings from travelers who have already done it. That can always help you decide. For us, the tour was a great experience. Having a guide to do the tour was really worth it because of all the information she gave us. And then, once the guided tour is over, you can stay inside the gallery and calmly continue exploring at your own pace. Go back to see things that have already been explained to you, but you want to see them in detail. So it was very positive, as I was saying. In the description, we've left you the link that takes you directly to this activity, so you can see all the details or make your reservation. The price of the guided tour right now is around €46. Still amazed by Michelangelo's sculpture, we got lost in the streets of this city that makes you fall in love. We would walk to the final destination, about 1.5 kilometers, but first we passed by the Porcellino market. One of the liveliest corners of Florence is the Porcellino market, famous both for its leather and souvenir stalls, and for the iconic bronze boar fountain. According to tradition, if you rub its snout and drop some coins into its mouth, you will return to Florence. This market, located under an elegant Renaissance loggia, is perfect for finding unique souvenirs and enjoying the vibrant atmosphere of the city. We crossed the Arno River in search of a palace for which we had a reservation. For this first day, we chose to visit the gardens of the Palazzo Pitti, the Boboli Gardens. We could have scheduled this visit before the Accademia Gallery to maybe walk less. We could have scheduled this visit before the Accademia Gallery to maybe walk less, but it was a matter of ticket times. But it was a matter of ticket times. You can adjust that according to how things are. The visits. The Palazzo Pitti is much more than a palace. It's a reflection of the power and grandeur of those who ruled Florence. Built in the 15th century for the wealthy Pitti family, it later passed into the hands of the Medici, who turned it into their ducal residence, filling it with art, luxury, and secrets of the Renaissance court. It soon became the new symbol of the Medici's power over Tuscany. It also housed the court of two other dynasties, the House of Habsburg-Lorraine, who succeeded the Medici from 1737, and the kings of Italy from the House of Savoy, who lived there from 1865. But its true jewel is at the back, the Boboli Gardens. More than just gardens, they are a universe of fountains, grottos, and classical sculptures, designed to impress as much as the palace itself. Walking along its paths among centuries-old cypresses and terraces with unforgettable views of Florence is truly beautiful, a place where nature and history intertwine. The entrance fee for the palace is 16 euros, entrance to the Boboli Gardens is 10 euros, and the combined ticket for the palace and gardens is 22 euros. Honestly, we really enjoyed walking through these gardens. It was a bit hot, but it was a nice way to rest, sitting in the shade of some of those trees. For this first experience in Florence, we fully immersed ourselves in art, but we chose to end the day with a free tour of the city, the evening one, not the essential one. So our steps will take us to Santa Maria Novella to wait for the start of the tour. We have a kilometer to go now. This tour doesn't cover, like the morning one or others do, Florence's main sites, like the Duomo or Palazzo Vecchio. In this one, we'll be introduced to the history of Florence as they tell us stories while we walk through cobblestone streets in the Oltrarno, on the other side of the Arno. It lasts about 2.5 hours, so we would finish at night. Free tours, whether this one or a more classic option, are always a good experience in our opinion. Just to clarify, they're not free. At the end, you should leave a payment based on what you thought of the tour and in line with the usual prices for a tour like this. However, making a reservation is free. You need to make the reservation online, and on the day of the appointment, make sure you know where it starts and arrive a few minutes early. Also, remember to cancel if you're not going to attend, so someone else can take your spot. Remember to bring cash. Night has fallen in Florence, and ending it with views of the Ponte Vecchio is the perfect way to end the day. Tomorrow, something big awaits us in the city. Here's the map of what we did today. It's available in the special Florence post on our blog, so you can download the itinerary. Day 2 in Florence. Today, we'll start with the Florence Duomo. That morning, feeling more rested, we continued on to the famous Florence Duomo, the Campanile, and the Baptistery. As you may have noticed, all the distances are short, so walking is an excellent option. It was just 1 kilometer from our accommodation. Let's start by saying that if you just want to enter the Duomo, admission is free. But if you want to go up to the dome, enter the Baptistery, and climb the Campanile, that does have a cost. You have 3 different passes, all of them valid for 3 days, so you can spread out your visits over the days you'll be there. Tip: the climbs to the dome and the Campanile involve stairs. Spacing them out over time can make it less tiring for you. The 3 passes are the Brunelleschi Pass, the Giotto Pass, and the Ghiberti Pass. Each one includes different things. The prices: Ghiberti Pass, 15 euros, Giotto Pass, 20 euros, and the one we got, Brunelleschi, 30 euros. And this last one gives you access to the dome, the Campanile, Santa Maria Reparata, the Baptistery, and the Duomo Museum. I would say these are all must-see things in Florence. I'll leave a link to the official website on the blog, so you can carefully read what each one includes. But for now, as the days go by, we'll be seeing those visits included in the Brunelleschi Pass. So today, we would visit the Duomo, climb up to its dome, and enter the Baptistery, leaving the climb to the Campanile and the museum for tomorrow. The unmistakable silhouette of the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, or the Duomo, dominates the skyline of Florence. But the highlight experience is climbing up to the dome. When you get your pass, you only need to select a time slot for climbing up to the dome, and the pass is valid from that day for 3 days. Before the time slot you chose for climbing up to the dome on the same day, you can also visit other included attractions. There are more than 450 steps through narrow passageways, between frescoes of the Last Judgment and the internal structure of the dome, until you reach one of the best views of the city. The reward is worth every step. Florence at your feet, with the Ponte Vecchio, the Arno River, and the reddish rooftops stretching out to the hills of Tuscany. Here, taking in these views, we want to tell you that if you're enjoying the video, and especially if it's helping you, please subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos, guides to Italy or other countries on the channel to help you plan your trip. Also, give it a like and share it with all those friends who, like you and me, enjoy putting together their own itineraries. What many people don't know is that beneath the cathedral are the remains of Santa Maria Reparata, the original church on which the current cathedral was built. Descending to this part is like traveling back in time among ancient mosaics and remains that tell the hidden story of Florence. It's really worth going down and exploring these remains. This is included in the pass, as we mentioned. Pay attention here. Backpacks of any kind aren't allowed for any visit in this complex. They have a cloakroom that's just a few steps away, and it's included in the ticket price. Be careful, because I saw a lot of people waiting in line for a long time, only to be told at the door to go leave their backpacks, and in many cases, they lost their spot in line. So first of all, look for the cloakroom. Leave your things there, and then you can calmly go on any of these visits. We left the cathedral, and just a few steps away, we found the baptistry. Right in front of the Duomo, the baptistry of San Giovanni is one of the oldest buildings in Florence, with more than 1,000 years of history. Its octagonal design, covered in white and green marble, served as inspiration for many Renaissance buildings. But what really makes it special is inside. An impressive golden mosaic ceiling depicting scenes from the Last Judgment, with a monumental image of Christ in the center. Unfortunately, we found it under renovation. They were repairing it. I don't know what the estimated completion date is. This, as I was saying, was in September of 24. And of course, we can't talk about the baptistry without mentioning its famous Gates of Paradise, designed by Lorenzo Ghiberti. These bronze doors are not only a masterpiece of Renaissance art, but they also marked the beginning of a new era in the history of art. Note that the ones you see at the baptistry today are replicas. The Gates of Paradise, originally by Ghiberti, after centuries of exposure to the weather and pollution, were removed for preservation, and now they are in the Museo dell'Opera del Duomo, a museum that is included in the pass, but that we will visit tomorrow. We picked up our backpacks from the luggage storage for today and continued walking through those charming streets for 400 meters until we reached the Basilica of San Lorenzo. The Basilica of San Lorenzo is one of the oldest and most iconic churches in Florence. Its current construction, which began in 1422, was commissioned by the Medici family to the architect Filippo Brunelleschi. Inside, the basilica houses the old sacristy, designed by Brunelleschi, and the new sacristy, the work of Michelangelo. In addition, it is the resting place of prominent members of the Medici family, which highlights its historical and artistic significance. The entrance fee is €9. We continue the lively walk. We are less than 200 meters away. We soon arrived at the Central Market, also called San Lorenzo Market. Outside, a leather goods market catches our attention and entertains us before we go in. Located in the heart of the San Lorenzo neighborhood, Florence's central market is a burst of colors, aromas, and flavors that captivates both locals and travelers alike. This iconic market, built in 1874, with an iron and glass structure reminiscent of the Parisian markets of the time, remains the gastronomic soul of the city. And since life isn't all about art, let's enjoy those flavors. On the ground floor, the traditional stalls offer fresh products that reflect the richness of Tuscany. Pecorino cheese with intense nuances, artisanal cured meats like finocchiona or sopressata, freshly baked bread, and an endless variety of olive oils and regional wines. Here, the hustle and bustle of the vendors and the coming and going of the customers create an authentic and vibrant atmosphere. The first floor, renovated and modernized, is a paradise for lovers of Italian street food. Among the options, the classic bistecca alla fiorentina, panini filled with lampredotto, freshly made pasta, irresistible slices of pizza, and bruschetta stand out. All of this is accompanied by a lively atmosphere, with shared tables and a decor that blends rustic and contemporary styles. More than just a market, this place is a reflection of the Florentine scene, where tradition and innovation coexist in perfect harmony. We really enjoyed this visit, but we really like markets, a fact that those who follow us already know. So we took the opportunity to have lunch and enjoy the flavors of Florence. I recommend this market to you, even if you don't buy anything. Just walking through it is very lively. A festival of flavors, aromas, and colors. And besides, the building itself is wonderful. Now that we're more rested, we head back to Maria Novella, where the free tour left yesterday, so we can visit it today. But we found a wedding, a marriage ceremony. Although we couldn't go inside, we enjoyed the moment. We walked another 400 meters. Located in front of the square of the same name, the Basilica of Santa Maria Novella is one of the architectural jewels of Florence and a landmark for both travelers and locals. Its impressive white and green marble facade, designed by Leon Battista Alberti, marks the transition between the Gothic and Renaissance styles. More than just a church, Santa Maria Novella has been a center of innovation, from its famous pharmacy, founded by Dominican monks in the 13th century, to its role in the development of art and science in Florence. Today, it is still a must-see for anyone wanting to experience the Renaissance's history and beauty. Eager to see the pharmacy? That's where we're headed. The Santa Maria Novella Pharmacy, founded by Dominican monks in the 13th century, is one of the oldest and most prestigious pharmacies in Europe. The scent of perfume envelops you as you walk in. Located in the convent of the same name, this historic apothecary began as a place where the monks made medicinal products from herbs grown in their own garden. Over time, the pharmacy diversified, and began to offer a wide range of cosmetics, perfumes, and elixirs, always maintaining a focus on quality and the use of natural ingredients. Today, the pharmacy remains a fascinating place that still retains its historic charm, with wooden shelves filled with vintage jars and products made according to centuries-old recipes. In addition to being a leading name in perfumery and cosmetics, the Santa Maria Novella Pharmacy offers visitors a unique experience where tradition, art, and science merge in every bottle and fragrance, making it a must-stop for anyone who wants to take home a piece of Florence's history. The visit is free, and I recommend doing it. The line moves quite quickly, so it was definitely a good decision. You won't spend much time inside. It won't take you long to go through it, unless you want to buy some of the perfumes. We ended the day with a lovely walk. We would continue towards Piazza della Repubblica, where we find the famous carousel, passing by Palazzo Strozzi, and so many other places that appear as you walk through Florence. After dinner, we enjoyed the night in Florence, and then got some rest. Here is the map of what we did on this second day. As I mentioned, it's available on the blog. Day 3 in Florence. Another beautiful day. Today, let's enjoy the last day in the city. A walk along the Arno will take us to the Uffizi Gallery. Famous worldwide for its excellent collections of sculptures and paintings from the Middle Ages to the modern era, the Uffizi Gallery is one of the must-visit museums when in Florence. If you are an art lover, this is paradise. Here you can find some of the most impressive works of the Renaissance by Botticelli, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, and others. It's one of those places where every room leaves you speechless. In addition, the gallery has an invaluable collection of ancient statues and busts from the Medici family that adorn the hallways, made up of ancient Roman copies of lost Greek sculptures. The entrance fee is €25, and the average visit lasts about 2 hours. Last December, the Vasari corridor reopened to the public after being closed since 2016. This corridor is 750 meters long, was built by the architect Giorgio Vasari in 1565, and the Medici family used it to get from Palazzo Pitti to Palazzo Vecchio without being disturbed and without risking their safety. It passes over the Ponte Vecchio. To enter, it is mandatory to make a reservation. Entry to the Uffizi is scheduled 2 hours before the Vasari corridor visit, and then you will go through the corridor and exit at Palazzo Pitti. But it was not open yet at the time of our visit, so we continued our tour. The price for the gallery entrance plus the corridor is €43. Here we see Antico Vinaio, a place to try the famous schiacciata sandwiches. We would go back to Piazza della Signoria, and now we're finally going to enter Palazzo Vecchio. Built at the end of the 13th century as the seat of the city government, its imposing stone structure and its characteristic Arnolfo Tower, 94 meters high, dominate the urban landscape. Over the centuries, it has witnessed important political transformations, going from being the center of Republican power to the residence of the Medici family. Inside, you can admire magnificent halls decorated with frescoes and Renaissance artworks, such as the Salone dei Cinquecento, where Vasari showcased his talent in impressive paintings that tell the history of Florence. In addition, the palace hides secret passageways and private rooms that reveal the life of the Florentine elite. The entrance fee is €15, and entry to the hall is free, which is definitely worth a look. We really enjoyed this visit. We were very eager to see the Salone del Chico Cinquecento, but the whole building was worth it. You can also go up the tower, but we didn't do it. The entrance fee for this is €10. We would go back to the Piazza del Duomo to visit what we missed yesterday. We would start with the Campanile. Giotto's Campanile is one of the most iconic structures in Florence and a sublime example of Italian Gothic architecture. Located next to the majestic Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, this slender bell tower rises 84 meters above the Piazza del Duomo, offering a privileged view of the city and Brunelleschi's iconic dome. Designed by Giotto in 1334, the Campanile was conceived not only as a bell tower, but also as a work of art in itself. Its facade, covered with white, green, and pink marble, follows the same aesthetic as the Duomo, creating an unmistakable visual harmony. Although Giotto passed away in 1337, his legacy was continued by Andrea Pisano, and later by Francesco Talenti, who completed the structure in 1359. Respecting the original design, but adding his own touch by crowning the tower without a spire, which makes it even more distinctive. One of the most fascinating features of the Campanile is its sculpted relief panels, which narrate episodes from the history of humanity and knowledge, from creation to advances in science and the arts. These masterpieces were created by artists such as Andrea Pisano and Luca della Robbia, turning the tower into a veritable book in stone. For travelers who dare to climb its 414 steps, the reward is an unparalleled panoramic view of Florence, with its reddish rooftops, the Arno River, and the Tuscan hills on the horizon. But unlike Brunelleschi's dome, climbing the Campanile allows you to admire the cathedral from a unique perspective. After coming down, we'll take a few steps to the Museo dell'Opera del Duomo. Both the Campanile and this museum, as we mentioned, are included in the Brunelleschi Pass. Located just a few steps from the impressive Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, the Museo dell'Opera del Duomo is a must-see for those who want to delve deeper into the history and art of Florence. Although, to be honest, it is often overshadowed by the cathedral, its campanile, and Brunelleschi's dome, this museum houses a collection of masterpieces that allow us to understand the evolution of one of the most important architectural complexes in the world. Founded in 1991, the museum was created with the purpose of preserving and exhibiting the sculptures, reliefs, and decorative elements that originally formed part of the cathedral, the baptistry, and Giotto's campanile. Over the years, its collection has grown to become one of the most important in Italian sacred art. The impressive original doors of the baptistry stand out, including the famous Gates of Paradise by Lorenzo Ghiberti, whose detailed biblical scenes continue to amaze with their refinement and realism. We return to the Central Market for a quick lunch and to once again enjoy this building and its lively atmosphere. We are about 500 meters away. Our steps will start to move closer to the Arno again, so on the way we would visit Santa Croce and the monument to Dante Alighieri, about 1.4 kilometers away. We pass by the Bargello Museum first. It has a remarkable collection of Renaissance sculptures. The entrance fee is €10. Santa Croce, in the heart of Florence, is much more than a church. It is a mausoleum of geniuses. Its Gothic walls enclose the tombs of Michelangelo, Galileo, and Machiavelli, while its frescoes by Giotto tell sacred stories with timeless beauty. In front of its neo-Gothic facade, the statue of Dante Alighieri overlooks the square, reminding us of his literary legacy. Known as the Pantheon of Italian Glories, this basilica is a testament to art, history, and spirituality in the cradle of the Renaissance. The general admission costs €8. And now, let's cross the Arno. We cross the Ponte alle Grazie and head to the best viewpoint in Florence, Piazzale Michelangelo. We'll walk about 2 kilometers. We decided to walk. Actually, we didn't use public transportation any of the days. We just walked. The walk was a little long, but beautiful, and we arrived at this piazzale, which is a meeting point for tourists who want to see the city from above. It doesn't disappoint at all. The view is wonderful. This would be a good place to end a visit to Florence, or to start it, because from a distance, it gives us the perfect view of the city. Finding a little spot to watch the sunset is beautiful, but be patient, because there are really a lot of people. And it might seem like we'll never get to the front to enjoy the view, but it's just a matter of waiting. Did you know that if you want to help us create these guides, you can take it a step further by joining the channel or giving us a super thanks? We were slowly going down, the evening was falling, and the Arno River was at our feet. We could add to this visit to Florence by going to the Porta Romana or the Porta del Prato. I didn't include them in the itinerary, but you can go see them. Farther out is the Basilica of San Miniato. And located in the hills, just a few kilometers from the city, Fiesole is an ideal destination for those looking for panoramic views of Florence and a quieter atmosphere. Here's the map for this third day. Excursions near Florence. If you have more days, you can take a day trip. One option is Pisa, less than 90 kilometers away. We will show it in a special video, since in our case we went to spend a night there. Another excursion could be to Tuscany, visiting some towns like San Gimignano and the city of Siena, but I recommend spending more than one day there. Soon we'll have a video about a route we did over several nights, with different places so you can choose from. Also, Cinque Terre, although it's farther away, is a possible option. However, I also think it's better to spend a night or two. We've already uploaded the video of this route through the 5 towns. I'll link it at the end in case you haven't seen it. Farther afield, Sis could also be an option. Soon we'll have videos about this city. I'll leave all the options in the description and on the blog. But now, let's get to the practical information for visiting Florence. First, I want to tell everyone who writes to me saying they can't find the information I share. Just open the description box of the video on your mobile phone or on your computer, and you'll find it easily there. If not, you can always check Europa Accompagnata. In the search bar, type Florencia and the post, with all the information I mentioned will appear. Or within the blog, click on Map, and there you'll see all the maps we have. We always stayed connected, and, as always, the ES in Europe with unlimited internet from Holafly were essential for us. For these, I'm leaving a discount coupon in the description and on the blog. The explanations about the eSIN are in a special video that is always also in this description box. We always travel with travel assistance insurance. I'm leaving the discounted link in the description. Our accommodation was very well located. It was very spacious, although very simple, and there are things that need to be fixed. Second floor by stairs. The receptionist was very warm. The breakfast was very simple. But prices in Florence are high, and getting a good location at a somewhat reasonable price is difficult. So we didn't complain. We were just a step away from the Arno River and the Allegrazzi Bridge, and the hostess was, as I told you, super warm. We paid 190 euros per night in September. When I give you my prices, remember that they vary depending on the month, but also because of many other factors. Let me clarify that this and any other price I mention includes all taxes. I'll put the link in the description and on the blog, as usual, so you can check it out. For those who are driving, it has the advantage of having an agreement with a parking lot that's very close, just half a block away. Even though it was really full, They made a spot for us because we were coming from the accommodation. And the same parking lot takes care of submitting your car's license plate number after you arrive, since it's inside a restricted traffic zone and you can't enter without getting a fine. Anyway, be very careful, because aside from the restricted traffic zone, which the parking lot takes care of for you, so that's not a problem, there are exclusive lanes for public transportation. Don't use them because you'll definitely get a fine, so enter very carefully. I'm talking about this city just like I talk about all the cities in Italy, restricted traffic zone and special lanes. The parking is Garage Tintori, and the price per day was €30. Regarding how to get around the city, walking is the best way to get around since most of the attractions are close to each other and many streets in the center are pedestrian only. We did everything on foot. Remember that the entire itinerary is on the blog. There are buses and trams. City buses can be useful if you're staying outside the center. There is also a tram line that connects Santa Maria Novella station with some outlying areas. You can buy tickets at vending machines or through the Tabnet app. The ticket price is €1.50 or €2.50 if you buy it on board. We had dinner at 3 different places. I'm leaving the receipts and names here. For nearby excursions, you can choose some of the ones I listed. You can go on your own or on an organized tour. The links are in the description and on the blog. Regarding the main attraction to visit, which is the Duomo complex, the Brunelleschi Pass includes everything we've seen. You can get it on the official website. Make sure to book it in advance because it's hard to get at the last minute. Italy is beautiful, isn't it? If not, watch this video.